Hello aspirants, I welcome you all to Daily Current Affairs Analysis of Shankar IAS Academy. Today's date is 9th of July 2025. Displayed here are the list of articles that we are going to discuss today. In this first article, we'll be discussing in detail about the upcoming COP30. In the second article, we'll be discussing the basics about Nobel Peace Prize. In the third article, we'll be discussing about basics of BRICS organization. In the fourth article, we'll be discussing about rare earth elements. Fifth article, we'll be discussing about waste to energy plant. Sixth article, we'll be discussing about Texas flash flood and what is the reason behind it. And in the final article, we'll be discussing about what is global south and what are all the challenges and way ahead that can be done from the mains perspective. So without delay, let us get into the first news article discussion. Now look at this news article. This news article talks about 30th conference of UNFCCC. So the 30th conference of UNFCCC, or the Conference of Parties, is going to convene in November 2025 in Belém in Brazil. So even before the convening of this particular event, every year there will be a mid-year talk. So in this particular mid-year talk, UNFCCC subsidiary bodies, which includes SBSTA and SBI, they will be talking about what will be the future agenda of this particular COP. So this is what the news article is talking about, and it tells that Bonn climate talks fumble pressure test. So this means that the talks is actually happening, but the actual result of the talks is not being reflected in the form of actions. So this is what the article is talking about. So from the prelims perspective, let us quickly go through what is this SBSTA and what is this SBI and what are their functions. So let us start with the subsidiary body for scientific and technological advice, in short called as SBSTA. Say this particular institution, it provides scientific and technical input to support all the climate actions, and for that they assess the climate science. They will be reviewing all the latest researches, for example the IPCC reports and etc. And they will help in technology transfer as well. They will advise on sharing climate technologies with developing countries, and they will help in developing standards for emission tracking as well as climate action. Apart from that, they play a major role in global stocktake. This global stocktake is nothing but measuring the progress towards the climate goals. And finally, they help in coordination. They work with scientific institutions like IPCC and WMO. So ultimately, they provide the scientific as well as technical input to support all the climate actions. Now moving on, talking about the second body, subsidiary body for implementation, they see whether the implementation has been done properly or not when it comes to the climate commitment. So what are their functions? Firstly, they will be reviewing all the implementation. They will be evaluating the national reports. For example, they will be releasing biennial report or the national communications. Secondly, they support training and institutional strengthening in developing countries. So they will be helping in capacity building in the developing countries to meet the commitments in the future time. And thirdly, finance and tech oversight. They will be monitoring the mechanism like Green Climate Fund and Adaptation Fund. See, these funds has been created by UNFCCC. And the fund will be used for climate adaptation as well as climate as well as creating a greener environment. And finally, they help in bringing transparency. They will ensure clear report under enhanced transparency framework. And finally, NAP support. See, each country has their own national adaptation plan, and it will help in formulating that particular plan and implement that plan to get the higher efficient results. So these are all the very important facts that you have to remember about the subsidiary bodies of UNFCCC. Now we have to see about what is the final outcome of this particular Bonn meeting. First, this procedural deadlock. See, they have been talking a lot about the climate change and the climate action, but no particular decision has been made so far. So there is a procedural deadlock which has to be cut down. Secondly, the global goal on adaptation. See, See, there has no consensus of the finance, technology as well as capacity development building metrics when it comes to this global goal on adaptation. Thirdly, when they talk about this mitigation work program, in short called as MWP, the countries had their different interest, and there is no proper convergence in the interest. So there is no breakthrough. So this is the third important thing. And they even talked about loss and damage fund. There has been a progress on integrating into NDCs as well as strengthening the Santiago network. However, the funding gap is there and non-economic loss issues remain when it comes to loss and damage fund. And this particular COP30, they will be talking about the just transition, which will be emphasizing on equity, labor rights and indigenous inclusion, and concerns over the carbon border trade and critical minerals. These topics will be discussed in COP30. So these are the important facts that you have to remember from this article. So with these learned points, now let us move on to the next news article discussion. Now look at this news article. This news article talks about Nobel Peace Prize. Now currently it is in news because Mr. Donald Trump has been nominated for this Nobel Peace Prize. This award has been given to him for his efforts towards peace building between USA as well as Israel. So from the prelims perspective, we have to learn about the basics of this Nobel Prize. So let us start with when this Nobel Peace Prize was established. See, this was established by Alfred Nobel. He is actually a Swedish inventor, and it was first awarded in 1901 based on the Nobel Will, which was came in 1895. So it is administered by Norwegian Nobel Committee. So this particular committee will be appointed by the Norwegian government themselves, and it will be awarded in Oslo, which is in Norway, unlike other prizes in Stockholm. Now moving on, talking about the eligibility as well as nomination. See, the individuals, any kind of individual as well as organization who work towards peace, they are eligible for this particular peace prize, and they will be nominated by select global figures. For example, some famous politicians or some influential professors as well as formal learners. So they will be nominating the upcoming nominees, and the nomination will actually be sealed for 50 years, so there will be confidentiality. But now it has been revealed because the person is not inside the committee. Okay, now talking about the prize details, there will be monetary award, literally approximately 11 million Swedish krona, and it will include a gold medal and a diploma, and it will be awarded on December 10, which is Alfred Nobel's death anniversary. Now moving on, talking about India Nobel Prize, we have lot of recipients of Nobel Prize, Peace Prize especially. For example, in 1979, Mother Teresa got Nobel Prize. Then in 2014, Kailash Satyarthi, he got Nobel Prize for child rights as well as anti-child labor activism. And then Mahatma Gandhi, he was nominated multiple times but never awarded, and this is seen as a major omission from Indian side. Now talking about the recent winners, in 2023 Narges Mohammadi has been awarded, and in 2024 Nihon Hidankyo, he is from Japan. So these are recent recipients or winners. Now based on the things we have discussed, I have framed a prelims question for you. Let me read out the question. Which of the following organization has won the Nobel Peace Prize more than once? So here the correct answer for the question is option C, United Nations High Commission for Refugees, in short called as UNHCR. So with these learned points, now let us move on to the next news article discussion. Now look at this news article. This news article talks about a statement given out by Brazilian President Mr. Lula. So he has stated that world does not want emperor. So what is the main cause of contention? We shall see that in this news article discussion. So as we all know, BRICS nation, they are asking or they are promoting the de-dollarisation initiative. So what is this de-dollarisation initiative? We shall see about that. De-dollarisation is nothing but, as the name itself suggests, it is the process of reducing the dependency on US dollar in trade as well as reserves. See, in both trade as well as reserves, the US dollar is actually dominating. So the demand and supply of these dollars is actually changing the import and export nature of a particular country. So instead of relying too much on dollars, these de-dollarization initiative, they focus on creating a common currency or trading in the domestic currency itself. So this initiative, it has been promoted by all the countries, and currently BRICS nation also support this particular initiative because of two important reasons. Firstly, it will increase monetary sovereignty and it will reduce the sanction exposure. However, US has replied to this particular initiative. So US has said that it will increase the tariff to all the BRICS country if they are going to support this de-dollarization program. So this is what the news article is about, and the conflict is about. Having seen about de-dollarization, let us quickly go through the basics of BRICS. So this is actually an international organization, BRICS. So initially it was founded in 2006 and it was only BRIC. B stands for Brazil, R stands for Russia, I stands for India, and C stands for China. And later only South Africa joined this particular organization, and currently new other members has been joined. For example, UAE has joined, Indonesia has joined. So the members has been raised from 5 to 10 right now. Now talking about 2025 summit, it is happening in Rio de Janeiro under Brazil's presidency, and the main objective of BRICS organization is to have a multipolarity instead of having a bipolarity. So instead of power being shared by two different countries, only the superpowers, this organization focuses on giving power to each country. Secondly, bringing a lot of institutional reforms, and these reforms are actually democratic in nature, where all concerns are actually sent towards a solution. And finally, economic cooperation among different countries. So the pluses and minuses will be balanced properly. Now moving on, we have to see about BRICS 2025 summit. So one of the main key discussion was this de-dollarization and common currency. So here you can see the theme, economic restructuring, trade reform, and multipolarity. So for this economic restructuring, they have suggested about this common currency. What is this common currency? There will be a new currency which will be traded, which will be used for trade between BRICS nations instead of relying on dollars. So this is what the de-dollarization is about. And currently the BRICS has again replied to US President's statement. It has said that they require only cooperation and not confrontation. So these are the important points that you have to remember from this particular article. With these points, now let us move on to the next news article discussion. Now look at this news article. This news article talks about rare earth minerals. Now currently it is in news because our Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi, he talked about weaponization of rare earth minerals in BRICS Summit 2025. So by talking about that, he actually indirectly implied about the dominance of China in weaponization of these rare earth minerals and opaque export policies. So from the prelims perspective, you have to learn about what are these rare earth minerals. So let us start with what is it. Rare earth minerals or rare earth elements are nothing but a group of 17 chemically similar elements in the periodic table. So it includes 15 lanthanides and 2 chemically similar elements. See, by the name rare earth mineral, now don't assume that these minerals are very rare in Earth's layer, in Earth's surface. They are actually present, but they are present in a very concentrated form and very rarely in the Earth's surface. So this is making the extraction of these minerals very costly and very complex, and that is why they have provided this name rare earth minerals. So what are the uses of these rare earth minerals? Before that, I have given here the classification of rare earth minerals, just you can go through it. Now talking about the uses of rare earth minerals, firstly it helps in cleaner energy. For example, the elements can be used in wind turbines, manufacturing of wind turbines, solar panels and EV batteries. Secondly, electronics, it will be used in the smartphones, computers, LCDs as well as magnets, and in defense it will be used in missile guidance system, radars and etc. And in the medical technology as well, we can use it in MRI machine, lasers and etc. And in the space and aerospace, we will be using it in satellite and jet engines. And here you have to know about a very important note. India has a very important rare earth mineral called monazite. This monocyte is currently being managed by IREL India Limited under Department of Atomic Energy. Now moving on, we have to talk about important policies when it comes to India. First is this IREL India Limited. It is actually a government owned entity that mine and process rare earth minerals. Then there is Atomic Mineral Directorate. See, a lot of preliminary questions now talking about directorates, so make a note of it. They oversee the exploration and assessment of these rare earth minerals. And there is FAME scheme. Under this FAME scheme, we are actually encouraging the use of rare earth minerals in the manufacturing of electric vehicles. And that is Critical Mineral Strategy Draft 2023. This particular policy also focuses on strategic sourcing and processing of rare earth minerals. Now here I have given all the data about where, in which place, what kind of rare earth mineral is being found and who is managing it. You can quickly go through it. Now based on the things I have discussed, I have created a prelims question for you. Let me read out the question. First statement says monazite, a major source of light rare earth element, is predominantly found in inland mineral belts of Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh. Second statement says China controls a majority of global REE processing and has historically used export restriction to influence geopolitical outcomes. See, both are extreme statements. Here the correct answer is option B, only 2. Now with these learned points, let us move on to the next news article discussion. Now look at this news article. This news article talks about waste to energy plant. Currently Delhi is getting its 5th waste to energy plant, and our Union Environment Ministry has provided with the environment clearance for this particular setting up of this particular clean to energy plant. So from the prelims perspective, we have to learn about how the plant actually works and what are all the advantages of it and the disadvantages of it. So let us start with how a waste to energy plant actually works. See, this waste to energy plant, it collects all the municipal solid waste. It will be the waste will be dumped in one place, and the segregation happens there based on the type of toxicity it has, or based on the type of material it has been made. So once it has been segregated, the solid waste will be burnt using processes like incineration, pyrolysis or gasification. So during this process, steam will be produced, and this steam will turn a turbine which will lead to generation of electricity. So we are using the waste into generating a particular usable energy. So this is what the actual working of waste to energy plant. On the other hand, the ashes produced after burning of these solid waste, even that will be used. How? If you are asking how, the fly ashes will be segregated based on the toxicity, and it will be used in the cement manufacturing industries, and the remaining fly ashes which cannot be used, it can be safely disposed into a landfill, and there won't be any particular harm due to this particular thing. So here comes the question, what is the advantages of this particular waste to energy plant? First thing is zero liquid discharge. See, all the wastewater will be actually recycled and will be reused, which leads to zero leakage of wastewater into the environment. So this is the first important advantage. Secondly, no groundwater usage. See, for functioning of this particular waste plant itself, there is no water extracted from the groundwater. So the water from the waste itself will be reused, and this will lead to increase in the groundwater level. Thirdly, odor and leachate control. See, the waste pit, it will be enclosed, and there will be a negative pressure chamber to control the odor, and there will be odor control sprays. So this will control the pungent smell that comes out of this particular plant. And the ambient air quality monitoring system is there to track the emissions. And finally, ash handling. Non-reusable ashes will be sent to the secured landfills, as I said, and the rest will be used in constructions. Now here comes the question, public, they are very fear about the air quality, they are questioning the health risk and existing landfill stress. So due to this, public has been protesting for setting up of this particular landfill. However, The company has promised local employment for the people in the region as well as emission within the limits and no odor pollution. So these are the important facts that you have to remember from this particular article. So based on this, we have created a prelims practice question. Let me read out the question for you. Here two statements has been given. First statement says refuse derived fuel. What is this refuse derived fuel? Is the waste materials, it will be turned into usable fuel. So those kinds of usable fuel is only called refuse derived fuel. Can be produced from biodegradable wet waste and is primarily used in composting units. Okay. Second statement says zero liquid discharge system ensures that treated effluents are released into nearby water bodies after filtration. What is the correct answer here? The correct answer here is option C, neither one nor two. So with these learned points, now let us move on to the next news article discussion. Now look at this news article. This news article tries to answer the question, what led to the deadly floods in Texas? So from the mains perspective, let us learn few facts from the article. Before that, we will see what is the geographical reason for the particular flood. See, Texas is also known as flash flood alley for different reasons. We shall see them one by one. The first reason is it is semi-arid land. So what is the problem with semi-arid land is that the water absorption will be very, very low. This means that with the flash flood, a lot of amount of water being poured into the ground within a few hours, the ground will not be able to absorb all the moisture, leading to a lot of flood in the region. Now the second important thing is shallow creeks. See, the creeks are spread across the locality and they rapidly converge, leading to the flood. And third important is the important reason is the Balkans escarpment. So this Balkans escarpment actually leads the rainwater to be flooded in a particular region and leading to runoff. So these are the different reasons why it is also called as the flash flood alley and the geographical reasons for rapid flood happening there. Now moving on, we have to talk about the role of climate change as well. It is also a very important reason for the recent flash flood. See, we all know that the warmer air, it holds 7% more moisture per 1 degree Celsius. So this is a very important data. You can use it in your mains answer writing. What does this convey is that the more warmer the air, the more amount of moisture it can hold, which can ultimately lead to intense rain. So Texas being placed in a strategic location, it has access to different sources of water bodies. For example, it is near Gulf of Mexico, and the warmer water increases evaporation, and due to excess evaporation, more moisture is collected, and the slow moving storms will be dumping all the moisture in the form of extreme rainfall, which will ultimately lead to flood. So this is not something new. We have a similar trend even in India. In Himachal in 2023 we had floods, and in Kedarnath in 2013 we had floods due to this same reason. Now moving on, we shall see about other important reasons for this particular flood. The inadequate warning system. See, Texas does not have a speed or amber alert or emergency alert, which has led to a lot of loss due to the flood. Secondly, the nighttime NWS warning system has limited reach. This has also not done its job right. Thirdly, there is staff cut in meteorological agencies as well, and there is sign of weak anticipatory governance, which has led to this particular situation. So from this we can actually learn a lesson that we have to scale up the early warning system by including the Doppler radar as well as early warning infrastructure. Then we have to focus on community preparedness as well as last mile alerts, and we have to integrate all the state action plan on climate change into development plans, and we have to bring in a decentralized swift local disaster response. So these are the important facts that you have to remember. So based on the things we have discussed, I have framed a mains question for you. Let me read out the question. Analyze the factors that contributed to the deadly Texas flash flood of July 2025. In the light of the event, discuss the broader implication of climate change, geographical vulnerability, and the role of early warning system in disaster management. So it is actually a 15 marker for 250 words. You can write an answer and post it in the comment section so that we can review your answer as well as your peers can review it. So with these learned points, now let us move on to the next news article discussion. Now look at this news article. This news article tries to answer the question, what is the common goal behind Mr. Prime Minister's visit to 5 different nations? So let us understand the important facts given in the article. Before that, we shall quickly go through what are all the key focus area. See, the first one is the pharmaceuticals as well as health. Secondly, digital technology, which includes introducing UPI or other linked banking system. Then the getting access to critical minerals. We have already talked about critical minerals. Some of the important critical minerals include lithium, niobium as well as uranium. Fourthly, our focus area is to get access to energy as well as food security, and finally to strengthen the South-South cooperation. So here comes the question, what are all the 5 different countries? Here there is a tour breakdown by country. So it includes Ghana, Trinidad and Tobago, then comes Argentina, Brazil and Namibia. So this is the tour breakdown by country. So we shall see what are all the key resources in these country in this particular slide. Now talking about Ghana, it is actually the top gold producer in Africa. This fact has already been asked in UPSC preliminary examination, and it is also a major lithium reserve. For example, the Volta River Basin. Then talking about Namibia, it is rich in uranium as well as diamond, and it has Orange River and home to desert adopted elephants. Talking about Brazil, it is world's largest niobium production is there. Approximately 88% of the reserve is there in Brazil. Now talking about Argentina, it is part of lithium triangle, and the second longest river in South America, the Parana River, is there. And talking about Trinidad and Tobago, it is actually an oil and gas driven economy. Approximately 37% Indian diaspora is there. They reside there since 1945. Memorandum of Understanding MOU on Pharma Cooperation. Now moving on, we have to talk about what is this name Global South actually mean. See here, you can see the exact demarcation of what is Global South. So it includes south of developing countries, especially the developing countries of Asia, Africa and Latin America. And they have actually why the focus is there on Global South is that they have common challenges. For example, the colonial legacy, debt burdens as well as lack of technology. And India is consistently working to represent the Global South in any kind of multilateral forums, and we have voiced the shared concern of these nations. And here I have given certain India's key initiatives. You can quickly go through it. Now talking about certain challenges when it comes to Global South, the first thing is resources and capacity constraints. See, the resources are not being properly shared with the developing countries. Secondly, competition from China's Belt and Road Initiative. This BRA is giving connectivity to a lot of regions in the upper part of the upper hemisphere of our earth and not to the lower part. So this competition is actually raising a lot of concerns. Then project delays as well as delivery gaps are there, and export policy unpredictability is there, especially with the developed countries, and there is a lack of and the balance between global north and south ties is actually missing. So these are all certain challenges. Now moving on, what can be done? We can institutionalize Global South platforms by different forum, and we can champion United Nations and global governance reforms. And for that, we have to deliver with speed and creditability. We have to scale up the digital and human capital diplomacy, and we have to balance the strategic autonomy with inclusive leadership. So these are certain important wayheads that we can focus on. So based on the things we have discussed, I have framed the main question for you. Let me read out the question. India is positioning itself not just as a voice, but as the principal architect of Global South solidarity and cooperation. Comment. So it is actually a 150 word, you have to write answer for 150 word for 10 marker, and you can post it in the comment section so that we can review your answer. So with this we came to the end of the news article discussion. If you like the video, hit like, do comment, and don't forget to subscribe to Shankar IAS Academy YouTube channel. Now thank you so much for listening.